Welcome back to part 25 of my Around the Kent Coast Cycling Challenge. It's great to have you back. As you may just see over my left shoulder is Botany Bay, which we cycled through and spoke about quite in depth last week. That was all very interesting. But on today's episode, we've actually reached quite a milestone. So far in the journey, we've been kind of heading east along the coast. We have kind of done two loop-the-loops around the Isle of Grain and the Isle of Sheppey. But generally we've been heading east. Now that has now changed. We've gone round Thanet and we're now heading south. So today's journey we're heading on towards Broadstairs and Ramsgate, and that'll be very exciting. So hopefully you'll join me for the entire route. Just want to show you one thing behind me is the Foreland lighthouse as we go into the Foreland estate, which is ahead of us. Right, let's go and see what we can find. So we have reached Foreland's private estate just on the seafront here. I'm going to pan around so you can see the sea. We have kind of come to a cliff edge here. I'm just going to put the camera over the side because it's quite a steep drop down there. Careful that the camera doesn't drop. The bay down the bottom there is actually, looks like it's a private bay for the residents of Foreland, which is this kind of private estate here. It does look quite exclusive. I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be cycling through it. It is all gated, so you can't actually drive through it. But the entrance to the beach is kind of locked off. I'm guessing only the residents would have keys, which is quite interesting. Bit selfish if you ask me, but there you go. Anyway, it's quite nice here. I've got a feeling I may be trespassing, but that doesn't matter as long as I bring you a good movie. Let's get going. So we're just coming through the Foreland estate, which is very interesting, but we're coming into Broadstairs shortly. Now, one thing Broadstairs was famous for, or what I would remember Broadstairs for, is the 1924 Olympics, and the team that prepared for the Olympics actually stayed in Broadstairs just before they kind of left to go and take part in the games, which is very interesting. They actually stayed at the Carlton Hotel in Broadstairs. So the story of their achievements was actually told in this film.
Now there are just two of us. Young Aubrey Montague and myself, who can close our eyes and remember those few young men with hope in our hearts and wings on our heels.
As you may have guessed, that was Chariots of Fire. Now, the hotel in Broadstairs, the Charlton Hotel, shown in the film was not actually the same Charlton Hotel in Broadstairs. Due to budget restrictions, they actually filmed it a lot closer to where the film was, in Edinburgh. So a bit of a quiz this week. If you can tell me where the shot of this hotel was actually filmed along the British coast, there will be points involved. So at the end of today's vlog, I will actually let you know where that was actually filmed. But on today's episode, I think it'd be really good if we actually found the real Charlton Hotel. So that'd be a bit of a challenge. Very interested to see. Let's go and see if we can find it. Broadstairs is full of nostalgia and has an oldie-worldy seasidey charm. I must admit it seems to have that old-fashioned seasidey appeal that Margate, which we visited last week, seems to have lost. There are sandy bays, surf schools, retro ice cream parlours, chip shops, fishermen's cottages and many Charles Dickens connections. In the High Street there are historic red brick and flint fronted buildings which are dotted between the rich stock of independent shops. Look out for galleries including the New Kent Art Gallery, Little Art Gallery and the Broadstairs Gallery. Broadstairs was Charles Dickens' favourite holiday spot. There is a wealth of Dickens history to explore, including memorabilia and prints at the Dickens House Museum. Also the former home of Mary Pearson Strong, who inspired the character Betsy Trotwood in David Copperfield. You can also visit Bleak House, an imposing cliff-top building where Dickens holidayed in the 1850s and 60s and wrote David Copperfield. Some of the major events in the town include Broadstairs Dickens Festival, when it overflows with costume characters, talks, plays and beach outings. In August there is also the Broadstairs Folk Week, which brings music sessions to pubs, gardens and beaches, while Broadstairs Water Gala is a family-friendly fiesta of events finishing with fireworks. Spring and autumn host Broadstairs Food Festival, an irresistible celebration of locally produced fine food and drink. Broadstairs is definitely worth a day out as one of the top seaside towns in Kent. So we found quite a nice bay in between Broadstairs and Ramsgate here. It's really nice. As you can see, there's no one about at the moment. We've actually just managed to get around the rocks as the tide goes out. I have checked that the tide is going out, otherwise I may be stranded, but I have checked that. I'm just going to give you a tour around here. It's quite nice. The sea is very blue and the sun is shining. In the distance, in this direction, there is Broadstairs, where we've just come from, and we will be heading towards Ramsgate, which I'm just going to pan around and show you. You can't quite see it, it's just round this rock, but it's going to be quite a nice town to see. I'm just going to give you a full tour as I'm here, as it's such a lovely little bay. As you see, the cliffs are getting a lot higher. They're certainly a lot higher than when we first saw the cliffs about 2 episodes ago. Anyway, as you can see out to sea, there's quite a few boats. Something I'm quite envious of this week, there's quite a few people swimming in the sea. I wish I actually bought my swim costume, although it could be quite cold at 8:30 in the morning. But there you go. Right, let's carry on round the coast. So we've just reached Ramsgate. I must admit I've never actually spent any time in Ramsgate. I've lived in Kent for most of my life, but it's all quite new to me today, and it seems really nice, which is really good. I want to give you a bit of a pan round. You can see the harbour going out. You've got a jetty kind of going out to sea and kind of protecting the harbour. As I pan round, you'll see the town going out in the distance. It's all quite nice. What I have noticed is there is some kind of quite brave people swimming in the sea this morning. It's braver than me for 8:30 in the morning, but the town kind of goes out. It's a beach, a bit of a fun fair. There you go. Really nice town, really nice day. Let's carry on round the coast. Now, I have actually succumbed to temptation and I am paddling in the sea. It's actually remarkably warm. I can see why there is so many swimmers out this morning. Even though it's early, it must be the time of year and all the hot weather we've had. It is actually lovely, almost like a bath out here, but obviously a lot nicer than a bath. Anyway, we are going on towards Ramsgate. So one of the things Ramsgate was best well known for was that during the Second World War, it is known to be the most bombed seaside town there is, which is quite a shame for the town. But looking at the history, there is actually something in the town that's quite fascinating, and that's the network of underground tunnels. Now, there's enough tunnels to actually house 60,000 people, which they actually did during the Second World War, and it was like a huge bomb shelter. So when the town was being bombed, all the people went down into the caves, and as you can see here, the caves are actually open today. It's quite interesting to go and have a look. I must admit I've not been myself, but it's something I really want to go and see, so hopefully by the end of the year I'm going to go and have a look around the caves, and I'm sure it'll be very fascinating. Right, let's look further around the town. South-facing Ramsgate is proud of its status as England's only royal harbour and boasts its own meridian line, 5 minutes and 41 seconds ahead of GMT. You find information about this in the town's Maritime Museum, along with artefacts evoking the town's rich heritage of fishing, shipbuilding and shipwrecks. For something a bit different, there is also a micro museum where you can find out and learn more about the invention of the home computer. Ramsgate's historic past includes landings by Anglo-Saxons, Romans and Saints. Fine architecture peppers the town, elegant Georgian terraces and impressive Regency villas. Visit the Grange, the first so-called modern house, built by architect Augustus Pugin, who designed the interiors of the Houses of Parliament. He worked with his sons in the town. Also well worth a visit is the Pugin and St Augustine's Visitor Centre and Shrine, celebrating the first Archbishop of Canterbury, St Augustine, who landed close by in 597 AD, bringing Christianity to England. There is also plenty of water-related activities. The sea is great for swimming, and you can hop on a boat trip to spot seals basking in the Goodwin Sands, or discover gorgeous bays and beaches around Ramsgate. Many events take place throughout the year in the town, including the Bucket and Spade Run, Battles for Victory, Ramsgate Week, Addington Street Fair, and not forgetting the impressive Christmas illuminations in December. Definitely a very impressive seaside town in Kent. So as we reach the end of our cycle now, we've come to this nice little bay here. It's not kind of sandy, it's very rock pooly. It's quite nice. I've always wanted to go rock pooling, but I never really know what I'm looking for, but may have a go in a minute, so that'd be quite interesting. But I just want to show you this bay we've got here. I'm going to pan round. This is the white chalk cliffs, as you can see, still quite high. What's quite interesting is these little caves going all the way along. Quite here. I thought it'd be quite nice to just check one out. We've also got this old building here. Maybe we can make it out. It's actually, I'm guessing it was once at the top of the cliffs. Due to erosion, it's now fallen to the bottom. Here we go as we enter the cave here. It's quite interesting. I'm not sure how the light will work in the camera. There is something at the back. It looks like an old tank or something, maybe a bit of an old boat. It's very interesting. I'm guessing that's some old tank of some sort. It is actually filled with shells here. I'm guessing the sea kind of brings them all in. It's very interesting. As we go back out onto the kind of rock pooly area, it's very exciting. Right, let's carry on around the coast. Thanks for joining me in part 25. Next week we'll be heading in that direction for part 26, where we're going to explore Pegwell Bay, which will be very exciting. Hopefully you'll join me then.